This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks. With an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to Eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.
Hello, one and all. Of course, it's me, a Bigfoot Michigan Rob, BMR. Thanks for coming on in on this Saturday afternoon. It's about, 3:15, 3:14 in the afternoon. The start of Memorial Weekend. And I was kicking back, deciding I've got a little something going on a little later today. And, I don't know if I'm doing a late show tonight because all my friends are all camping or they're on ghost hunts. So I don't know if the late show is going to kick off tonight because it would just be me all by my lonesome. I'm undecided. Leave a comment after the show if you want me to do it tonight. I do have a gathering today after this show, but who knows? Turn on the alert bells. You never know when good old BMR is going to pop up. If you're new here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. Thank you so much for that. Of course, Texas Front Porch, The Blinds and the Booze, Paranormal Podcast, Donnie Cho Says Stuff, Paranormal Paul, Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World, Truth or Tinfoil, everybody else, all us misfit islanders, as Tex has been coining the last several months. So thanks for coming in. Don't forget to hit the like button. Leave a comment afterwards. It does help to promote what we got going on here. I appreciate you all coming on in for this impromptu Saturday afternoon. The last couple Fridays, as you all know, I do story time with BMR, Cryptid Encounters. And I've got about 30 left, but I went through those the other day. So I've been kind of lacking on Fridays. The show is not ended, but, I just want to put out some quality stuff. And some of the things that I've gotten recently, I really didn't want to put out. So I'm still waiting on that. However, I'm going to be putting together a series for y'all. And this is kind of maybe the pilot show for that, about werewolf creatures, shapeshifters, or were people. So I've gotten this one that I decided to share it with you today. Give you an idea of what you can expect from me coming up here in the future. So I do appreciate that. I don't know how many people are going to come in to chat today because, again, this is kind of midday type of thing. Saturday, it's the Memorial Weekend. We all have things to do, people to see, friends, relatives, whatever. Here in Michigan, it's kind of been crappy the last few days. I've had 6 straight days of 42 degrees at night. The high has gotten up to like 58 degrees. I planted my garden last week and I was scared that it would die. Rob, you put it in too early. I do have, of the 20 plants that I put in, 2 are dead. So I'm going to have to replant them because thankfully now today the sun finally broke and I'll be able to do that a little later after the show. And I'm having a little barbecue later. Hopefully you're all having some friends and family over to celebrate Memorial Weekend and celebrate the fallen. Of course, hats off to all of our past heroes. So thank you to everybody for coming on in. I also want to thank all you for buying my books that you can find on Amazon. Y'all know him by now. Bigfoot Mystery Rob presents True Cryptid Encounters, Books 1 and Book 2. Simply type Bigfoot Mystery Rob in your Amazon browser. They'll both pull up. I pinned Book 2 to the top of this page.
It's live right now.
And, I got a quick little guest just popped in really quick. Hey, Krista.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. I decided to do this little impromptu. I got a cool werewolf bloodline story I'm going to talk about. And I know you're out there. You're doing something with Brandy. You guys are down doing a little haunted investigation.
Not haunted. This is a cryptid weekend.
Cryptid weekend. Well, you guys do it all.
Yep.
And you're where are you guys right now?
We are actually in Marthasville, Missouri, at that haunted location that we usually do come to. We're here, and we have a teammate Jay is here, and then Miguel with Sasquatch Theories here, and we're just getting camp set up.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks for popping in really briefly. I'm going to tell this little story that I got talking to everybody about. I don't know if I'm doing a late show because it would just be me because you guys are busy. Texas camping. Monica's out with the husband on the weekend, so I was debating. So I did decide though to do a live show today at least and talk about this story that I got.
Okay.
So thanks for popping in.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
since you're here, for the people that are out there in the chat room, we can briefly talk now really quickly as more people start to file in. We've added another venue to our conference, which I'm
for Thursday
excited
night.
about. For Thursday night.
We have Big River Ranch, or I guess instead of an after party like most conferences have, we're doing a pre-party. So Miguel, Thursday night, you want to come up to the conference?
Should be okay.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Miguel, how's it going, buddy? I was on Miguel's show several months ago.
There he is.
Check out Sasquatch Theory. Hey, Miguel, there you are. How you doing, brother?
He's eating.
Doing pretty good. Eating some Subway and staring at the asylum.
Eating some Subway and staring at the asylum, he said. Yeah. Because see, that's, can you guys see that?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. I hope you guys come across some interesting activity. I know that
we've actually already heard howls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dogman or a Bigfoot? Or are you undetermined?
Dogman.
Miguel says Dogman.
Okay, well, that's kind of a cool segue into the little email I got that I'm going to share with everybody. So, it'll be interesting. I don't know how long this story is. It's quite lengthy. So I'm only doing one because I got things to do after this. And of course, I'm contemplating coming on to do.
Well, holler at me if you do later. If we're just sitting around camp trying to attract a Bigfoot in, I might hop on. So just if you decide to, just message me or call me.
Okay. So you can hang out. I'm going to tell the story. So I mean, that's fine if you want to hang out or just watch.
I'm probably going to hop off because I'm waiting on Brandy. Should be pulling up anytime, and Terry. So.
Okay, well that's fine. Thanks for coming on in, and share it out if you want, and you're while you're sitting around eating lunch.
Okay.
If you want, and with that being said, Chris, good to see you. Good to see you, Miguel.
Good to see you, buddy.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you a little later. All right, Chris. So that was pretty cool. Krista popped on in to, of course, show her support. The Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. Go check them out and subscribe if you're new and don't know about them. So thanks everybody for coming in. Moon at Noon. I see Denise. Hi, Denise. Dimitri. Hi, if you're new. How's it going? Good to see you. Bigfoot Dwarf, Lil Patty, Roger Blair. Sweetly Morbid. Always a pleasure. BJ Lapierre, author and illustrator. I got BJ's book she sent to me. It's fantastic. Go check her out on Amazon. Who else do we have coming in here? Jim Santo. Hello, Jim. What Jim says, weather in Pennsylvania has been horrible too. Yeah, I know. Kind of sucks for the weekend. What are you going to do, right? We just go on about our lives. Scrolling down, scrolling up. Tyler. Hello, Tyler. Danny Staten. Miranda. Hello, Miranda. Good to see you. Stephen Finnegan. Hello, Stephen. How's it going? Stephen travels the world, you guys. Stephen's all over the place. I think he's in Turkey or something right now. Hi, Stephen. Edward. Hello, Edward. Michelle. Hi to Michelle. Miranda again. I said hi. There's about 40 of you in here. Only a few people are chatting. If I missed you, W. Leonard Athos or Athos, thanks for coming on in. So, Judy Wheeler, hello, Judy. Good to see you. Thanks for coming and joining me on this afternoon, taking your time out on this Memorial. Mark Hammer, the BMR holiday weekend continues. Yes, it does. So, if I missed you, I apologize. There's quite a few of you piling in. Only a few of you are chatting, which is cool. So, thank you once again. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, subscribe to my friends across the internet. So I'm going to get on with this, you guys. And this is a boy, I got to tell you, this is it's got all the elements into it. It's sad, it's terrifying, and it's something that I'm having a hard time wrapping my hands around. I know these things exist. I believe there are shapeshifters. I believe there's dogmen. I believe there's curses. They're cast down. Black magic. And this account that was sent in to me by this young man, Matt, well, he's 59 now. So I guess that's still young, right? He's a little bit older than me. But I found it fascinating. And this is kind of a precursor, maybe the pilot show, which is what I'm going to do a lot more of moving forward for you guys. Hi, little Patty. Little Patty is doing some artwork and listening. Very good, Patty. So yeah, I'm going to get on with it. Don't forget, you guys, that the super chat's open. Also, you can become a BMR pirate. Arr, mateys. Join today, join the many, join the few, depending on your point of view. Thank you for that. Hello, Jason. Good to see you, brother. So I'm not going to waste any more time. You guys are busy, and I appreciate each and every single one of you. I also appreciate the folks that are going to watch the replay later. I also appreciate all of you that are just listening and not participating in chat, because you're all valuable. You're all much love I give to you, because without everybody, I wouldn't have a channel, right? You don't want to talk to a bunch of nobody, 5 people, right? Hello, Sage. Good to see you, brother. He's checking in from Washington State. He's assembling a Jumbo Joe 22-inch Weber grill. Love you all. BMR rules. Thanks, Sage. Appreciate that. I got a Weber grill myself, which I'm going to fire up when we're done with the show. It's just one story. I don't know how long this show is going to last. But with that being said, it's got some length to it. So kick back, enjoy your weekends. Hey, Deep Truth, good to see you. So, yeah, so thanks for spending a little bit of your time with me. So I am going to get started with this, you guys. Email that I got, okay? And starts out by saying, hey, Rob, my name is Matt, and I was raised in northern Illinois, just south of the Wisconsin border. My dad, Rich, and mother, Melissa, were great parents. I was an only child and was spoiled growing up. Matt goes on to tell me that his dad had 2 brothers, Mark and John. His mom had a sister, Carol. And Matt tells me that he always felt it odd that his dad always spoke highly of his uncle John, but rarely, if ever, spoke about his other brother, Mark. Matt always saw his Aunt Carol, it seemed like, weekly. Matt's mom and Carol were the best of friends. It was the same case with his dad. He always saw Uncle John. But again, he never saw Uncle Mark. In fact, Rob, as Matt goes on to tell me, he only saw his Uncle Mark once, the day of Matt's 21st birthday, which Matt tells me will be later on in this account for y'all. Hello, P. Gene. Hello, Bad Boy Channel. Uncle Mark was also the eldest of Rich and John by about 3 years. And Matt says this is important to remember for later on in this event, this story, this encounter. While growing up, Matt was telling me, as I'm reading through the email, that he started asking more and more questions to his dad, Rich, about Uncle Mark. It was almost like his entire family avoided his Uncle Mark like the plague. Matt goes on to tell me that his dad got very angry whenever he brought up Uncle Mark and said to never speak of him and to never seek him out, especially once Matt was old enough to do things on his own, like drive a car, move out, get married, or start a family. His dad was so emphatic about this that he went on as far to tell Matt to never disclose anything about his personal life and to never disclose where he eventually one day would move out, lay his roots. Never make it public, he told his son. So, Rob, as Matt is telling me, he goes on. His 21st birthday arrived, and he was living with his girlfriend, Annie. They stayed in Illinois, much like his parents. It was about a 20-minute drive from his parents' home. Matt says his property was on wooded land, much like his parents, and he had moved out when he had just turned 20 years old the year prior. He secured a great job, and his girlfriend Annie also had a pretty good job. Matt's dad, Rich, again, gave him a nice down payment for the land and for the home. So now this fellow Matt, his new chapter in his life, it begins. Hello, Andres. Hello, Hooking. Good to see y'all. So Matt goes on to tell me his dad's only words, remember what I told you your entire life about Uncle Mark. And I quote, never reach out to him ever. Matt recalled his dad's preachings, and Uncle Mark was far from his mind. In fact, it did not seem that Uncle Mark even existed, as he never has seen him and was only spoken on very few occasions. So Uncle Mark, as far as Matt is concerned, doesn't even exist. So, going on, it's the day of Matt's 21st birthday. Matt goes on to tell me the events of the party. Matt's mom, Melissa, and his dad, Rich, showed up early, around 1 o'clock. And his Uncle John, of course, his dad, Rich's other brother, showed up around 2 o'clock. Annie's mom and dad, along with her sister Sarah, also arrived, along with some family friends on both sides. They had a barbecue out in the backyard. He opened presents, and everything was going fine. Until later in the evening, around 6 p.m., Matt's estranged Uncle Mark appeared in the backyard. Yeah, how about that, everybody? Matt's father, Rich, looked sternly at his brother. He almost looked scared. Despite not seeing Mark in decades, he knew it was him. He got up immediately and somewhat violently grabbed his brother Mark, almost like an animal, around the scruff of his neck and escorted Mark to the front of the house. The people enjoying the party witnessed this, and all went silent. Can you imagine? Okay, the preachings of the father about Uncle Mark, right? Don't tell him your whereabouts. Don't reach this guy. So this Uncle Mark's like a mystery. Hasn't been seen in decades. To utter Uncle Mark's name was forbidden. There was something going on with this guy. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, how does he know where his nephew even lives? Right? The guy shows up on the day of this guy's 21st birthday. Very odd, you guys, right? Very peculiar, kind of haunting, really, if you think about it. So, from the front of the house, you could hear both of these guys, Rich and his brother, Mark, shouting back and forth. Matt, the son, ran to the front of the house, with his mother, Melissa. Rich points at both of them rather emphatically to go back, get out of there. So Matt and Melissa did what was instructed by Rich. And within a few minutes, Rich came back to the yard as Uncle Mark left the property. Shortly thereafter, the party dwindled and everybody left, except for Matt's mom and dad. Young Matt's parents decided it was time to tell the story of Uncle Mark. Hello, Unreal Estate Agent. Good to see you. You must be new here. If you are new, everybody, please subscribe to BMR, Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube, Blondes and the Booze, Paranormal Podcast. So, Matt goes on to tell me that his dad, Rich, says that this story, this history about his family dates back to Rich's father, which would be Matt's grandpa, Charles. Okay, so you see, Rich's father, or Charles' father, I should say, married a First Nations woman named Jenny against her tribe's approval. They had an ugly and bitter feud with Jenny's tribal nation, of which he did not disclose the name of the tribe. And Jenny's tribal nation, because of her getting married to this Charles, again, the grandfather to Matt, the father of Rich, okay, said they placed a curse on this young couple. So the tribal nation placed a curse on Charles and Jenny, Jenny being of the nation that left the nation. And you guys, here's the thing about this curse. This curse was to be cast upon Charles and Jenny's firstborn child. Under no circumstances was Charles and Jenny to bear any children. However, the tribal nation put this in place and told them, despite disavowing this marriage and casting Jenny from their tribe, they did give them an ultimatum. This curse, everybody, would not be put in motion if Jenny and Charles did not have children. However, the curse would become consummate if the young couple went against the nation's wishes. A year later, the future Uncle Mark was born under this curse. Two short years later, Matt's dad, Rich, was born. Then came along Uncle John. Matt continues to tell me that the early years for Charles and Jenny, along with the three children now, Mark, Rich, and John, went on like most families. They were happy. And the First Nations of Charles' wife's tribe were never heard from. Never. Not since the day of the proclaimed curse was cast upon them. Charles and his wife even joked about it. They even mocked everybody. They even mocked the alleged curse to be cast on their firstborn child. In this case, Uncle Mark, in this case, of course, the firstborn child, everybody, is Uncle Mark, who is, of course, a focal point of this entire ordeal. However, this all changed on the day of Mark's 13th birthday. Now, you got to remember, we're going in the past. I'm telling the history of Rich's mom and dad and Matt's grandparents. So back in the day, no curse. They didn't notice any curse. Nothing was unusual. Charles and Jenny having a great life with their kids, the three kids. However, though, again, when Mark turned 13, everything changed. So Matt's dad, Rich, goes on to tell his son of what took place right in front of him when Rich himself was a young lad, okay? It was him, his brother John, his brother Mark, Charles, and his mother Jenny. They were all gathered at the celebration of Mark's 13th birthday. Again, just not to sound redundant, it was Charles, Jenny, the three boys. The family had just finished up dinner sitting around a campfire. Jenny thought it was odd that the birthday boy, Mark, did not eat any of his dinner. Mark was complaining about not feeling well. Hello, Lawrence Morgan. Hello, definitely D. Mark was complaining about not feeling well. Mark got up from around the campfire and within a few minutes started writhing in pain. He started screaming out loud. "What is happening to me?" he shouts out. Now, at this point, his dad, Charles, kind of laughed and said something about the fact that it's the start of puberty. As you're now 13, my son. Jenny, the mom, of course, did not find it amusing. Of course, Jenny, of First Nations descent, of which the curse allegedly was cast upon her and the family. She did not find it amusing at all and ran over to her child. When Jenny reached Mark, he spun around and pushed her to the ground. Now, Rob, as Matt goes on to tell me, my dad tells me, according to Mark, that Uncle Mark, upon facing the rest of the family, had changed. His appearance changed. His head, seemed to be covered in long hair. His facial features remained the same. His facial features remained the same, yet his nose took an almost somewhat elongated look about it, and his teeth seemed to extrude a little bit from his mouth, and they kind of took on the appearance of a dog or something wolf-like. So this Uncle Mark is now going through this little transformation, throws his mom to the ground, and he starts panning his family. He looks at his brother, Rich, looks at his brother, John, threw his mom, Jenny, to the ground. Then he sets his eyes on his dad, Charles. He ran at his father, Charles. He tossed his father, Charles, to the ground. Not like he threw his mother, Jenny, to the ground. When he threw Jenny to the ground, it was just kind of to dismiss her, try to get her out of the way. But he tossed his father, Charles, abruptly and violently to the ground. The son, Mark, now takes his hands and starts beating down on his father violently. As Rich tells his son, as he's beating down on his father, Charles, his hands seem to grow a little bit bigger. His nails seem to get longer. Then, horrifically, spatters of blood exploded out from Rich's father, Charles, who, of course, at this point would have been the grandfather to Rich, to Matt, who's telling me this story. Hello, Under Fire. How you doing? Hello to everybody. Hi, Michelle, Bigfoot Dwarf. Thanks for coming on in, you guys. So now, this Mark and this beast-like form is beating down on his dad. Blood starts to spatter from the father. Matt says his dad, Rich, says all of a sudden he hears this gurgling sound. It could be heard from his dad or from Charles. And then this Mark, after pummeling his father, ran off into the forest. Of course, Rich's father, Matt's future grandpa, this is dated back, was no longer with us. Jenny, Matt's dad, Rich, Uncle John screamed and cried in sheer terror as this Matt is telling me this story about what happened when he was a child. That was the last time that any of them ever saw Uncle Mark again. Obviously, though, you guys, until he showed up at Matt's 21st birthday party. Hello, Val. Val, you missed quite. Oh, I started a half hour ago. We're gonna have to watch the replay. We started. I don't know how long ago, but anyway, good to see you, Val. So Rich goes on to tell me, "Hey, Rob, man, you know this story does not even end here." He says he still needs to tell me in this email about the aftermath of when Rich's dad escorted Uncle Mark out of his 21st birthday party. But first, he had to tell me some history about what Rich's mother, Jenny, explained to Rich and his brother, John, about Uncle Mark after this horrific incident. First, he says that his grandmother, Jenny, did not call the police despite what she and her boys had just witnessed. The boys, of course, now as Rich and John, were just so perplexed, and they were traumatized by this event. Seeing their father being pummeled by their brother until he was no longer among the living. They watched their brother savagely attack their father. They saw the dramatic transformation and everything else that took place on this grisly night. Hello, Celia. Good to see you. Jenny took a few days later to try to explain this to her young sons. Now, you all have to remember when this took place, Mark, the eldest, who committed this ordeal, was 13 years old. It was his 13th birthday party. Rich and John were around 11 and 10 years old, so pretty much still young guys, right? I can't imagine if I were to see this in my lifetime with any of my family, much like none of you, I imagine. So they're very young kids. So Jenny, their mom, decided to tell the boys, despite their ages, about this alleged curse. She told them how her tribe forbade the marriage between her and the father and cast on this curse. The curse that would be bestowed upon the firstborn, who, of course, you all know by now was their brother Mark. You guys, can you imagine telling your kids at such young ages all of this, witnessing this horrific ordeal, then talking about curses from her family, her descendants? I don't know, at 10 or 11, I don't know if I could conceive it. I don't know if I could process it. I can't recall that far back in life what my brain thoughts were, my pattern was, but hey, let's face it, 10 or 11, no. It's something that would probably traumatize most of us for the rest of our life. She goes on to tell her sons that she believes this to be the curse. It was very real, and that their brother was now a shapeshifter and now can take on the form of any animal it chooses. Thanks, BJ. Hey, Warhorse. So, in this case, it appeared that the transformation was not just of an animal, but now she's telling his kids, her sons, that their brother is a werewolf, cast on by dark and black magic from her tribal family. So now this Jenny, the mother of the children with the deceased husband, decided it was time to go back to her tribe and try to plead with them to lift the curse cast on her son. Well, as Matt goes on to explain to me, his grandmother Jenny, whom was forsaken from the tribe and the lands, was simply told that she had been warned. She had been warned not to marry Charles. She was told not to have children, bear any children. In fact, she would still be cast from the lands and abolished from the family, but the curse would only take effect if she had children. Well, she blew that off. She started a family, had Mark, had Matt, and had John. She was told that the dark magic could never be broken. It would be in her family's bloodline until none of them were of this earth any longer. Or when the bloodline was depleted. Now, what's really disturbing here is, as Jenny goes on to tell Matt, the tribe did tell her that her husband Charles, although physically his body is no longer of the earth, that he now will forever roam the woods with Mark, as he too now is a shapeshifter. Can you imagine that, everybody? This is horrendous, right? Jenny's getting ready to leave her elders, her tribal nation, pleading them to please discard the curse. But they gave her a comforting thought, everybody. They told Jenny there was one way that the curse could be broken, and it would be granted. Jenny says, yes, please tell me. I'll do anything. I'll do anything to lift this terrible curse. They told Jenny she would have to end the bloodline, meaning at her hand and her hand alone, she would have to take the lives of her two remaining sons, Rich and John. Because you see, Rich and John were also targets now of Mark, and now her husband, Charles. But if she was to take the lives of Rich and John, they would be spared, eventually becoming shifters themselves, and Charles and Mark would peacefully be taken. The shape-shifting would be extracted from them, and they would go on in peace. Jenny refused. She refused, obviously. What mother's going to do that? There's no other way out of it other than doing this horrific deed. And of course, she did not. Understandably so, of course, right? I mean, I agree with her. So this is what Matt's father, Rich, and his mom, Melissa, told him the night of his 21st birthday upon the showing up of Uncle Mark. As far as Jenny, Rich's mom, she passed away when Rich and John turned 16 years old. So these two boys are now alone, and I guess they were picked up by social services, this, that, and the other. No other family. They can't go to the tribe, obviously. So they were bandied about in I guess foster care, right? Foster homes. Very sad, you guys. So Matt goes on to tell me in the story that that's what happened on his 21st birthday. He says, Rob, the year of this was 1987, which makes him today, everybody, 59 years old. And I just got this email, maybe it's 2 or 3 months ago. Then he said, there was one last twist into all of this. As if not, this story is not compelling at the onset. There's something else that goes on here, everybody. He goes on to tell me what happened after Uncle Mark was tossed out of the party by his dad, Rich. Matt goes on to explain that this was and is the most difficult for him to process. If you're coming on in late, you got to watch the replay. This is a great story. Excuse me. Thanks for everybody for showing up. Please hit that like button and leave a comment afterwards. Happy Memorial Weekend to everybody showing up late. Thank you all. So, later that night, after telling Matt about the history of his family, Rich, the father, now that decided to go outside to be by himself and to collect his thoughts. He now was very worried about this curse. And he's worried about Mark coming back for his two sons, obviously Matt and John now, right? He wondered if his father, Charles, was lurking in the distance now with Mark. Because according to what Jenny was cast down and not cast down, spoke about, was that Charles now lurks as a shapeshifter, right? So after about 15 minutes or so, Matt's mom, Melissa, went out to check on her husband, Rich. Rich, now you guys, listen to this. Rich, later on that evening, after the party, Matt goes on to tell me that Rich, his father, was nowhere to be found. His dad disappeared, you guys. Matt goes on to tell me they called the police, made a report about what took place that night, about the estranged son showing up at the party, of which the brother, Rich, kicked him out, right? Goes on to say, though, that it was kind of odd because when they questioned, when it was kind of odd because during the story, they could not tell you guys the entire history. They weren't going to go on and tell the police about the curse, this, that, and the other. I mean, they didn't tell that they didn't tell them the transformation about Mark. Because, and I can get that, you guys. Court, you're calling in a missing persons incident, telling about the party, but are you really going to say, hey, look, the missing man, Rich's brother, who we haven't seen in decades, showed up, turned into a werewolf? He didn't at this party, but you guys get the gist of my point here. They feared this guy was a werewolf. Didn't change at this particular party, but it was just creepy that he showed up. So this Matt goes on to tell me about this is the report was filed with the police. His father, Rich, has never been found. He's never turned up. And he goes on to say it's kind of like he became, as he says, Rob, part of those 411 missing cases. So he's never seen his dad, doesn't know what happened to his dad. Nothing. That's sad. So Matt says, Rob, in conclusion to all of this, he goes on to tell me that today, currently 2025, that he and his brother John live in continual fear, wondering if Uncle Mark is going to return, and presumably now, along with Grandpa Charles. And to make it even more fearsome and terrifying, is the father Rich now a shapeshifter? Is he a part of this? Thank you, Kelly. Kelly Sandiford, awesome super chat. Thank you. Matt says that he and John will never be married. They'll never start a family because they know about the curse. They know about the bloodline. The curse ends. Well, the curse ends, you guys, at the death of John, and of course, of Matt. And so they won't marry. They'll never have kids. They will live the rest of their lives in fear, wondering when their number is going to be called to be taken to the other side, into this dark, deep, black magic, if ever. And they live scared. They live scared, everybody, for the rest of their lives. I don't know, you guys. Isn't that terrifying? It's the first time obviously it's the first time I shared this. As I'm telling you guys this story, I mean, I read through it, but now that I just spoke on it live and retelling this, I think this might be the most dreadful story I've ever done. If you're coming in late, you guys, I'm only doing one story today. It's Memorial Weekend. You got to watch the replay because, again, this is terrifying. What do you guys think? The poor family, this curse? I mean, listen, those that have been following me for a while, I do believe in cursed lands. I do believe that hexes and black magic is cast upon people. I believe that a lot of bloodlines are cursed. I believe this happens. But to get a report, to get a account from somebody that sends me a physical email on this and to read it and then tell it to you guys, it just hit me all of a sudden like a ton of bricks. This is tragedy. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what you delve in, what your beliefs are. But for a group of people, it doesn't matter the race, the culture. But if to have the ability to put a hex, to put a curse on your daughter and her family, on their born kids, that is pure evil, in my opinion. I believe this does go on today. And I'm going to tell you flat out, I believe in this story, this account. The guy's gaining nothing by this, by telling me this, like all the stories that I present to you guys. It's tragic. Yeah, Jim, very sad story. Little Patty, scary as hell. Yeah, I mean, you guys, it's a lot to ponder, isn't it? It's a lot to go over. That's an example, though, what I'll be giving you guys. Wow, 61 of you in the chat room. That's pretty sweet. Again, I'm sorry, but that's all I got for today because I didn't know I'd expect this amount of people to show up. But I wanted to do something for you guys for Memorial Weekend because don't know if I'm doing a show tonight because all my friends are out of town. I might go solo, turn on your alert bells. I don't know. I still have bizarre news. Maybe I can share another story tonight. You guys let me know in the comments. But let me know what you think about this story, Hit that like button. I don't know. But that's an example though, because I haven't come up with a title of the series that I'll be going back on Fridays. I haven't done any Friday shows last 2 weeks because all my good stories, I've used them all, and I'm just waiting for more emails to roll my way. The ones that I got, I don't want to present to you guys because they're short and it's something I don't want to bore with you guys on, to be honest. I just want to put out good quality content, and I thought this was certainly quality. But this will be an example of something that I'm going to be moving forward with. I just don't know what the title is. Give me suggestions in your comment. The Werewolf Journals. I don't want to use Chronicles. I don't want to use Diaries. That's so boring and used. So I need an original title for my Were People, if you will. Were People was suggested to me by a friend of mine. I don't know. I hope that everybody has a fantastic Memorial Weekend. It's kind of dreary where I live, you guys. Now I have to get outside and get to work on some things. I got some friends coming over. We're going to do a little barbecue a little later. I'm going to go forward despite the crappy weather because I am BMR, and that's just what I do. That's what I do. And I got to replace some dead plants, too. I appreciate and love all you guys for coming on in. Thanks for the support, the love. Share this out. Oh, thank you. I just missed somebody here. Mark Z-Hammer. Thanks for the awesome super chat. I do appreciate you, brother. I don't know how I missed that, but thanks to yourself. Thanks to everybody. Thank you to Kelly. And thank you to Mark. But thank you to all you guys for coming in, whether you donate or not. It don't matter. I love you all equally. I appreciate that. It does help out. And so, yeah, please subscribe. Turn on your alert bell. Good old BMR I might just pop up tonight, I don't know, later at night, depending how I feel and how this little party this little shindig that I'm putting together goes. But I appreciate, love you guys. I appreciate you. Please subscribe, leave a comment, hit that like button, and have a great Memorial weekend. And what I'm going to do is look for my exit video, right? I'm BMR. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Thank you so much. Love you. Until next time, I'm BMR.
This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks, with an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to Eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.